At Summer Sessions 2011, Philadelphia Yearly Meeting called for a long-range planning process to clarify our vision and goals and make changes in our organization for a more vibrant and healthy Quaker community. For 2 years, the long-range planning group has listened to friends throughout the region and worked with consultants. We brought drafts of our plan to interim meeting and other regional gatherings, and we listened to friends some more. Through this process, we have discerned 6 strategic directions which will lead us to be more responsive to the Spirit, nimble in our operations, collaborative among our membership, and more accessible to the next generation of Quaker leaders. Hear our friends speaking about these directions for change and why they're excited by them. As you watch this video, we hope that you'll get excited about yourself about the future of PYM.
Change is happening all around us, including for the Friends of Philadelphia Yearly Meeting. We are in exciting times. I realize for some that change is unsettling, but what do we have to fear when we are faithful and have each other?
The intention of our yearly meeting is to have us connect with each other, to have us deepen our spiritual lives together. In Lancaster, because we're not close to Philadelphia, it takes about an hour and a half to get here, it's a lot easier for us to have that deepening with other friends in the meetings that are closer to us, such as the ones in our quarter, Harrisburg, Reading, Downingtown in particular. We have participated in the Strengthening Our Meetings community, which has been really helpful for Lancaster Meeting. And it's been helpful in several different ways. The biggest way has been to have the different meetings, representatives from the different meetings, sit down with each other and tell what's happening in our meetings, and so we can listen to each other and hear what works for us and hear what works for other people and what isn't working for us, and maybe there are solutions from the other people. I'm really happy that the new structure is going to include opportunities for us to get together with meetings and friends from other meetings, not necessarily having to come into Philadelphia, though I love to do that too.
I grew up as a Quaker, but I probably wouldn't have stayed Quaker if it weren't for the PYM youth programs, because particularly after the age of 10 or 11 years old, parents sort of stop forcing their kids to go to meeting, and I know my parents did, and I would often just opt out and choose to stay home because I'd rather have free time or get homework done or just sleep. And so a lot of young people don't know that there's other young people out in PYM, and the youth programs are a really great way of pulling everyone together and helping us realize that there's other young people out there, and it can actually be pretty fun to be in a spiritual community, especially in an increasingly secular world like ours. A lot of the workshops I attended in Gathering really solidified my identity as a person and helped me get to know myself a whole lot better and accept myself. And that's something a lot of young people have trouble coping with.
Friends across the yearly meeting need better ways to connect with each other. This is something I've heard pretty much every time I gather with friends. And the technology that's available to do this is oftentimes free or low cost, and it's what people have come to expect from all the institutions that we might interact with, the schools and museums and government. And I think in order to keep young people inspired about their monthly meeting experience, it's imperative that we learn how to bridge these differences. Even if it's scary and means a culture change, it's the way that the world is going, and we have the great history of friends to inform how we apply it. There's all sorts of level of playing with technology and then harnessing it to welcome new members consistently and and share experience, best practices, so we're not all reinventing the wheel. And those are things that can just open us to possibilities that we haven't had before. So I'm all for effective communication and use of technology across the yearly meeting, and I think the yearly meeting has a role to play in supporting the advances we make together.
I've always found it important to tell people that I am a Quaker because it is such a part of who I am, and it often starts a dialogue, and it's often a very positive dialogue because it gives them an opening. Many people will then say, oh, I've always wanted to go to Quaker meeting, and it's an open invitation. Well, we're there every Sunday. You can come join us. When you tell someone that you're a Quaker, one of the first things they're going to ask you is, what do Quakers believe? And I think it's very important that each person can answer that for themselves so that they can explain it to others in a way that they can understand. I think there are 3 ways that Quakers are unique and might be attractive to new seekers. First is our silent worship, where everyone is considered a minister and can speak during meeting for worship. The second is our non-hierarchical society, where everyone is considered equal and treated as such. And third is we feel we have a direct connection to the divine and we don't need any intermediaries. And I think these 3 points really are important for us to communicate to the wider world, because this could be exactly what some people are seeking on their spiritual journey.
I've been involved with Philadelphia Yearly Meeting for many years, and currently I'm the clerk of the nominating committee. I have found real frustration with the fact that people that I asked to serve have been reluctant because of the complexities of the organization. Currently, with 7 standing committees and officers and the advisory committee and elders, there are at least 80 volunteers currently involved in the overall volunteer administration of the organizations. I am absolutely delighted with the idea of a new model which will divide the work of all of those standing committees into 2 major bodies, the Administrative Council and the Quaker Life Council. This will require fewer volunteers who will be given the authority to thresh decisions, make decisions, be accountable for those decisions. And I think this will make people want to serve on bodies that are really effective and efficient.
I've recently spent some time with the General Secretary Search Committee out in the field asking questions of friends from all walks of life, and uniformly they are all looking for change, they're looking for innovation, they are looking for that spark of excitement to get them re-involved in yearly meeting. Faith and Practice tells us, and I'm quoting from Faith and Practice, the presuppositions of the corporate meeting for worship have, from the very beginning, profoundly affected the method of decision-making in the meeting for business. In both, there is faith in the guide. There is faith in a continuous revelation that is always open to produce fresh disclosures. And there is respect and affection for each other that cuts through all diversity and that helps to kindle a faith that with patience and openness, the group can expect to come to clearness and to resolve the problems that come before it.
So as a rural friend from Upper Susquehanna Quarter, I have grown up traveling, and I have learned more about Quakers from other Quakers even outside of my own meeting. I've learned of different ways of running meeting. I've learned of different ways of doing all kinds of different Quaker processes. And so I've learned that by traveling. And what I'm excited about with the new structure is that quarters will remain the same, and if anything, become strengthened. We will become more relevant as quarters, and the culture of Philadelphia Yearly Meeting that a lot of people think of as them, but it's us. We are Philadelphia Yearly Meeting. Will become less Philadelphia-centric, and we'll be able to get together in more further flung ways and in more creative ways for more specific tasks and missions.
The Threads gathering for me has been the most delicious recent reconnection with other meetings. I think it's a brilliant plan, and the last meeting we had out at Kennett Friends meeting, there were, I think, about 70 or 80 people that came, and the small groups were just so helpful to all of us, and we were exchanging resources and sending each other documents that our meetings had created around an issue that we needed help on, or we might have something they could use, and it was so brilliant to not reinvent the wheel as we humans do.
Growing up in a Quaker family, as a Quaker, I was very aware of the inspiring figures from the past. George Fox and Margaret Fell and Lucretia Mott and Bayard Rustin and Elizabeth Fry, and the list goes on and on and on. And my parents really held these friends up to us as examples of what we could do with our lives to lead meaningful lives. And a couple years ago in yearly meeting session, we had a wonderful panel on climate change and earth justice, and there were some hard things to hear about what the future holds for us, and one person in the gathered community said, "Show me the way. What should we do? Show me the way," to this panel of obviously people who had some vision about what could happen. And immediately what came to me was, what is the first thing that I could do now? I'm ready to take action. I'm finally ready to take action. What should I do? And I raised that issue, and then a number of us got together, and we began to revive for ourselves as Quakers our heritage of nonviolent direct action. And it was so inspiring to be with a group of people who not only knew something about organizing and tactics and strategy, but were deeply, deeply rooted spiritually and rooted in the tradition of Friends, and had that cloud of ancestors behind us who could lift us up and hold us up. So thinking about going forward, I think it would be so wonderful if the yearly meeting could do three things. One would be to connect friends who may feel isolated in their individual meetings, who may have the same concerns but might be the only one in their meeting, to connect them so they can work together. Two would be to provide us some infrastructure, some physical space, so that we can meet and come together and plan. And the third might be to actually provide training for people who want to undertake joint social action. I think a lot of friends are at the point where it's good to educate ourselves, but we may be at the point where we don't necessarily need another panel, another film, another discussion. We're ready to actually take action and have an impact. And I think the yearly meeting could be crucial in making that happen.
I think there's tremendous potential for Friends to be more effective in our work in the world through partnership. And when I think of partnership, I think of three pieces that allow us to be more effective in partnership. One is, of course, the benefits of diversity, that as we partner beyond Philadelphia Yearly Meeting, beyond Quakers, we open up to different perspectives, we open up to people from many different backgrounds and the wisdom and ideas that come with that. The other piece is around division of labor. We don't all have to do everything. There are organizations that have specialization from which PYM can really benefit. I'm thinking a great example of that specialization is FCNL, the Friends Committee on National Legislation, and their lobby network that draws on so many different monthly meetings.
In April, this plan to move us forward will come to intro meeting. Copies will be sent to all of the 103 monthly meetings and to quarterly meeting clerks with instructions on how to send feedback. Everyone is encouraged to take part in the monthly and quarterly meeting seasoning and threshing sessions, as we prepare for a decision in July. In July, at sessions, we must come with our minds prepared so our hearts will be free to hear how Spirit is leading us. The work of the Almighty One is before us. It is with great joy that I look forward to seeing you all at sessions.
Visit the Long Range Planning Group website and read the Long Range Plan in full. Then let us know what you think by sending us an email, giving us a call, or attending one of the many presentations we'll be giving before sessions in July. Finally, come to annual sessions where the plan will be proposed and we will all make a shared decision about the future of our yearly meeting.